Hello everyone. So this video is going to be about soup. How I make my day-to-day, everyday soup. It's very simple, it's very easy, it's very quick. I take maybe 15 to 20 minutes to prep everything, another 30 to 35 minutes to cook the soup. And yeah, while I'm prepping, I'm cleaning at the same time, so it comes to be a very clean process, and I wanted to share it with you. It's very simple. It uses 3 to 4 different ingredients, veggies. I buy them fresh, I chop them myself, um, and yeah, I want to take you along the ride, so get ready, it's coming. And we start by shopping in Albert Heijn. It's right next to my house, a small one, but it has everything that I need. Getting some carrots, fresh carrots, a couple of garlics, small leek, it always goes well with the onions, and some green beans. Already home, unpacking all the produce and getting ready to peel and chop. So starting off with the onions. It's quite easy to peel onions, although it gets some getting used to it. And what I do normally is I cut the onion in half, then with my fingers I peel off the outer skin. I find it that using my hands it's way better than going with a knife, although some people might prefer to go with a knife. That's absolutely fine. And yeah, once they're both peeled, I chop them in half and get them ready for chopping. In this case, I'm dicing them. They just cook a bit better, and it's a bit of a faster process, and it also gives me a chance to show my chopping skills. Now that the onions are diced, I prepare a few cloves of garlic, and yeah, I'm Portuguese. Garlic is a staple in our cuisine, and I like a bit of garlic in my soup. Not too much, so it doesn't overpower it, but just a bit. That goes very, very well. Once that's done, let's move it to a pan or a pot. I put it on low heat and add a bit of salt and olive oil and let it cook on low heat while I chop the remaining vegetables. Just give it a bit of a stir and leave it to it. Now, the leek. For my leeks, I like to peel a few of the outer layers and get rid of all the dirt that they normally come with, and then cut off most of the green part. Have just this nice white part, crunchy and fresh. Dice it finely and get ready to add it to the onions. Now I'm also going for another leek that I had laying around. So this makes 2 small leeks, but you know, dosages and the vegetables that you want to use in your soup, it's pretty much whatever. Everything goes and everything will work as long as it's to your liking. So now everything is in the pan. Let's get ready some carrots. Carrots give a lot of creaminess to the soup, a lot of texture, and I love my carrots. So I peel them and get ready to chop them. Cut off the ends. Make sure you have the best out of the carrot. And now let's chop them up. It doesn't really matter if you go finely or not. I mean, the finer you go, the faster it potentially cooks. So I like to go fine enough, but I don't go over the top. Just roughly cut them into small pieces, or small slices, shall I say. And by now the onions and the garlic and the leek have been cooking for a while, so they are nice and golden. I have them on low heat, and as you can see, they're steaming up nicely. And I think now it's time to add the remaining vegetables, and I'll start with the carrots that I just chopped. So get them along and stir it a bit, close it again, leave it on low heat, and let's chop the remaining vegetables. Now in soups, my rule of thumb is that either you use potato or you go for some courgette. And lately, or I mean most of the time, I go for courgette, which is lighter. So potato, it gets a bit heavy and becomes quite doughy. Courgette is a bit lighter. And my wife is screaming in the back that it's not courgette, it's zucchini, but I guess this is a UK versus America issue, which is not a big deal. Now on to the green beans. Wash them, cut off the ends, and here I separate them in two batches. It makes it easier to cut them along. And again, just chop them roughly, no biggie, just roughly chop them. Now I'm going for the second batch, and you'll see in a bit that I'll use these ones for later. So I'll separate two batches of green beans. Green beans all chopped. Take the initial batch, put them in the pot, mix it, and a few more carrots. It was not enough vegetables there, so going for a few more carrots. Carrots are in, and yeah, carrots, they're great to get this silky, creamish texture to the soup. Now a bit more salt, a bit more olive oil, and let it steam for a bit longer. Now I'm showing this footage because this is all the vegetable scraps, and I just dropped them here in my washing basin, and later on I clean them up. Now the vegetables are all properly steamed up. It's time to add the water. Just roughly cover them, and then it's up to you. If you want to leave the lid opened or slightly opened, you'll have more or less water reduction. And I'm going for 35 minutes, and this is again on low heat once it starts boiling. So once it starts boiling, it's low heat. Now I dropped the heat, it just started boiling, and 35 minutes later it's done. The initial part, it's done. So now that all the vegetables are thoroughly cooked, and 35 minutes it's plenty, everything will be nicely cooked, I just go for some blending, and I blend for as long as it needs to be blended until I get a creamy silky texture. I think it's a must. And now remember the batch of vegetables I had on the side. I got some carrots and I got some green beans, and I add these later on for crunch. So you don't want to have, I mean, you might want to have, but I like to have a bit of a crunch in my soup. So I cook these vegetables for another 20 minutes, plenty, so they're not too cooked. And here we go, the soup is ready. As you see, it's quite creamy, it's quite dense, quite a rich soup. So it's not a watery soup, it's a vegetable base. And let's give it a try. This is late in the night already because I was editing the video, but it felt great to have a nice soup before going to bed. Yum yum yum. Yeah, and this was it for my first end-to-end YouTube video. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. Hope this was useful and looking forward.